Hey everyone, Sarah here. Today we are going to be doing the fairy house drawing, or fairy home, I suppose. And by the way, welcome to the stream. So we've got Steve here. Steve is going to be watching us today. I like to have my various toys that I've got everywhere that I play with instead of getting real work done. They watch. So he's going to be just sitting right out of sight watching us today. Okay, so we're doing a fairy home. Now, what these are is in Celtic tradition, and actually in other places have picked it up as something fun to do. You make these little houses and you put them outside for the fairies to live in. Usually they're made out of organic materials, grasses and leaves, and you just kind of construct them the best way you can, like with glue and all kinds of things. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw one today, and you can use a number 2 pencil. Let's see, I have one around here somewhere. So you can use a number 2 pencil. This is the same thing. If you ever go to an art store and you see a pencil that says HB on it, that's the same exact thing as a number 2 pencil. So what that means is that you have your hard pencils. Those are your H's, and it starts at 2 and goes up. And so the higher you get, the harder the graphite. The other one is the B. And the higher that goes, it's bolder, and it's actually a softer material, but because it's softer, it gets bolder. So we can use a number 2 pencil for this particular drawing. I will show you that I do have my art set here. This is the Gioconda art set by Kohinoor. I like this one a lot because it's got it's good quality, and also it's got sepia, which it's nice to add like some brown tones when we're doing something, just to give it a little bit of texture and color. It comes with graphite pencils, 2, 4, and 6B. It comes with lead pencils, levels 1, 2, and 3. One's actually the darkest, and a couple of charcoal pencils. Then these are actually just the stick versions of those. But what we do have is a spreader, and I am going to be using my spreader. There's also an eraser. Now let me find here. I have a couple of like just these kind of erasers, rubber. So I'll be putting those to use. And then also, just in case you need it, pencil sharpener. Very handy. Okay, so I'm going to set this to the side, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So first thing, I want to talk to you about natural textures, how you can create that with drawing. So you've got, we're going to have grass, and we've got a couple different kinds of grass. So we've got like a mossy grass that's going to be on the roof of the fairy house. And then we have like the kind of wispy grass that you see. So for mossy grass, you do really short little strokes, and that will give you like the kind of choppiness will give you that moss look. For the more close-up grass, like maybe down at the bottom of the toadstool, we will use like more wispy strokes. Then the let's see, we're gonna have a mushroom, which mushrooms have like uneven, varied lines that aren't necessarily parallel to each other, and little circles, which will make it look more porous. So that's another texture. And then finally we'll have our shadow, which we'll put, I'll explain that when we get to it, but we'll just do little hashes, which will show our shadow. So that gives us our texture. If you are new to the stream, I would encourage you to check out, I've changed my screens around, so I have to, if you look down at the bottom of my at the bottom of the screen, it has the Discord channel. There's also a button somewhere on my page. If you go to that, I have the reference photo that we're going to be working from today. of the fairy house. It's usually good to have your reference photo. If you're doing this on your own and you go outside, then, you know, of course you have all your reference images right there, but it's good to work from a photo, like just to have an idea rather than your head, because usually even experienced artists don't fully know what something looks like in their head. Our memories are very faulty. So go ahead and get your number 2 pencil, or if you want, we can use the 2B pencil. 2B. All right. So first thing we're going to do is we are going to create the underside of the mushroom. I'm going to pull up real quick just so you guys can see the reference photo. I'm going to pull up my Discord, and for some reason it's not coming up. Oh, there we go. Okay. So that's a terrible photo. Okay. Give me a minute, guys. Okay. So you can see that we're going to be using like a toadstool, and there's little tiny mushrooms around that. We've got different kinds of inorganic features, which would be like these windows here. So that's what we're looking at. If you want, like I said, go to the Discord and you can pull that up. Okay, enough of that. All right, let's go ahead and get started. First thing first, we've got our paper. I'm using 9x12, and it is in the portrait position. Go ahead and tell you guys, I did not get a lot of sleep last night, so I've been struggling with life today. It's just been, I've had a lot of meetings and all kinds of stuff because of all this fun Corona stuff going on. So a lot of, you know, online meetings, and you know, so if I have any weirdness, please forgive me ahead of time. I'm asking. Okay, so first things first, we're going to start with the underside of the mushroom, and this is going to be right about the middle of the page, and it's going to be pretty big. It's like an elongated oval, because where we're situated is a little bit under the mushroom, so that means that we can see a little bit up underneath it, but it's at like an angle. Okay, so that is probably very difficult to see. Hold on, let me adjust my light. Well, that's not that much better. I'll hold it up so you can see. So, make that darker. Actually, you know what, guys? I'm going to work in a 2B pencil, because remember, B is for bold, so that way you guys can see this a little bit better. You can continue working in your number 2 pencil. It's not going to matter. All right. We'll just put that back where it lives. Okay. All right. So then in the middle of this, we're going to actually have another little circle here. It's not really a circle. I mean, it is a circle, but because we're looking at it from an angle, it's elliptical. It's like an oval. All right. Then we're going to do our stalk, and that's going to come down directly from this. And so it comes down, and we're just going to do the top part of it for right now. Like that. All right. By the way, I didn't mention, but you can also use, if you just have print paper, you know, just regular paper, you can actually use that. You do not have to have special drawing paper. I am using a drawing pad here, but you can use just regular old printer paper. All right. Now, down at the bottom, we're going to go ahead at the bottom of the page and do like a little hill, like a little mound. And this will be what our fairy house is going to be sitting on. And a lot of times in Celtic tradition, they did put it like on a little hill, because fairies are known, I mean, it's part of fairy lore is that they live in these like sacred mounds. They live in them. By the way, if anybody's interested, my name, Faye Sarah, the Fae part of it is fairy. That's what that means. And Sarah means princess in Hebrew. So I put those together. I created a little compound word of my own. Fae Sarah means fairy princess. I created it when I was pretty young, so keep that in mind before judging me. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of complete the shape. So we've got at the top, we're going to create like a bell curve. So it's going to come in from both sides. And then it's going to scoop up. Oops. I almost feel like I made mine a little bit too high. Yeah. All right, it's going to happen. Hold on. We're going to erase. I'm starting over. Not starting over, I'm starting over this little part here at the top. Okay. Remember, blow, don't wipe. That's important. You don't want to smear things. Now, if you're just using a number 2 pencil, usually that's not going to affect it too much. But that is, if you're using anything else, you want to make sure that you don't wipe your page because that's going to smear everything. There we go. Okay. So let's bring this down a little bit. There. All right, and we'll do our little circle, our smaller one. And I've shifted everything over apparently. That happens, it happens. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and get back to our bell shape here. Let's see, I'm going to put a shape up at the center here just so I know kind of where I'm going. And then I'm going to do my bell shapes again. All right. So let's get this drawn in. Fairies are pretty interesting. So there's 2 spellings of the word fairy. Sometimes you might see Faerie, and that refers to the entire world of fairy, and that can apply to let's see, brownies and sprites and trolls, will-o'-the-wisp. Like, it can refer to a lot of different fairy. Fairy is, some people put an S on the end of that, but technically fairy is plural. It's talking about the entire world. Then you have Fairy, and that is the creature that we know of that has wings, the little winged fairy. So that's basically Fairy, fairy, is one of the world of Faerie, fairy. So it's very interesting because a lot of the fairy folk are not exactly what you would call nice. A lot of times we have a romanticized image of what fairies are, but a lot of them, mischievous is about as nice as you get in the world of fairy. There aren't too many what we might consider nice fairy folk. So I don't think they're particularly fond of humans. I mean, I'm talking about them like they're real, but you never know. Maybe. Okay. So now we're going to finish this down here. We've got, so our toadstool is split into 2 parts. So we've got kind of like this hood here. So we're going to draw like a curved line, like almost like if you were drawing like a little rainbow arc or something like that. And then it's going to come down slightly. just on the sides. What we're going to do is we're going to do this kind of bulb at the bottom. Like that. And come down to your mound. Okay. I am going to... All right, let's do this. Let's go ahead and get our lines in the bottom of the mushroom. So these are going to be just single lines that come out, they spiral out from the center. So see how I'm doing that, where I'm going around and just coming out towards the center, but gradually getting closer. You can actually put one right in the center if you want to. And technically they get closer together as they go away from us, because that's how our eyes see it. It's a perspective, an atmospheric perspective, that it looks like they get closer. So there might be one over here, kind of in the distance. Welcome to the stream. If you're just joining, please feel free to join the Discord link that's down at the bottom. That address, excuse me, will show you the picture that we're working on today, which is a fairy home. Okay, so now we're going to do our inorganic objects, which is our windows. So starting right here, right about where it started to go up, I actually want to pull this out a little bit. So I talked a little bit about this being an illustration, right? Well, so illustrations they're drawings, but they're not meant to look specifically real. That's the main difference, is that illustrations are supposed to have a little bit of like I wouldn't say comic, because comic has it's a type of illustration, but it's not intended to look realistic. It's tended to be more stylistic. So for example, okay, so you see this tattoo I've got here. So that is stylistic because it's got an outline. It doesn't really look like a real flag, right? You know, I mean, it's supposed to be a pirate flag, but it doesn't look real. It's a representation of a pirate flag. So you end up having like dark outlines to things, whereas if we were drawing a real flag, there probably wouldn't be an outline. We'd have edges, which would mean, you know, we'd do shading that comes up to certain areas and implies that there's an outline. So that's the biggest difference between drawing and illustrating. Is that illustrating is more stylistic. Okay. Let's go ahead and draw our window on this side. So coming right where we started coming in, like where it starts to, right where it goes in and then comes up. Yikes. Told you. It's been rough today. As you get older, you can't stay up late anymore. It just catches up to you faster, I think. Okay, so I'm going to create a point not quite at the top of my toadstool, but like a little bit farther down and out, probably about 1.5 inches, maybe, like right there. And we are going to make an arch, but it's going to be a very tall, skinny arch. Like that. Okay. Now we're going to just draw a line straight back to the mushroom. What's really cool about organic objects is that, so look at mine. Mine's like a little misshapen here, you know, like it's a little wonky there at the top. That is, I mean, with an organic object, that's okay, right? Because everything looks different. There is no perfect mushroom out there, right? So that's why you can get away with kind of, I don't want to call them mistakes. What does Bob Ross call them? Happy accidents. You can get away with that a lot more with when you're drawing nature, when you're drawing organic shapes. Okay, so we've got this window here. I'm going to do another window on the other side. And let's do, it's going to be about the same place. So we'll come up and maybe let's dip down just a little bit. Just do like a little, like that. And by the way, if you do something like, you do an extra line or something like that, you don't actually have to erase that. The only reason I'm erasing, because when I'm doing my own drawing, I don't usually erase very often. Even this line here, I probably would not have erased that. I would have just kept going and I would have made it into something. I would have done something with it. And in fact, when I teach these classes face to face, I guess IRL, then I actually encourage my students not to use their eraser very often, except for when we're using it for a technique like highlighting or something like that. It just, first of all, as an artist, it gets you used to not relying on your eraser, not relying on the fact that you have something that can correct your mistakes. Instead, use your mistakes to actually get better and to improve. And the thing about it is, the way I look at it, oh, Steve fell down, I just realized. The way I look at it is that, okay, you know how they say there's nothing new under the sun? Well, that includes your thoughts and ideas. Sorry to tell you this. I know your mom and dad probably told you you were special, and in some ways you probably are. But in reality, all of your ideas come from your culture, your parents, everything that you've learned. Comes together and forms what's called your ideology. And that is where your ideas come from. So it's not that you're not original, but you're not original. Like, your stuff came from somewhere. Now, to get original usually requires mistakes. That's when, especially in art, that's when you really can shine, because you didn't intend it. So it didn't come from your ideology. There's a couple different kinds of these are called errors. There's a couple different kinds of errors. You've got slips and you've got mistakes. So mistakes is something where you intentionally do something. So I guess I'm talking more about slips, because mistake is when you intentionally do something and then realize afterward it wasn't the right thing to do. For example, when I drew this up here, I intentionally did that when I drew the line higher up. And then I realized it was just a little bit too high. I needed to be further down. So that was a mistake. However, earlier when, my pencil went up, that was a slip, right? I didn't mean for it to go up like that. What this means is that the slips especially is when you really get to be unique. It's when you really get to use use that slip and make it a happy accident, as Bob Ross says. Make it into something that you would not have done before, which makes it interesting and creative and unique. So there you go. I just taught you how to be special. Okay, I know you see that I'm wiping, and I said not to wipe, but that one wasn't near my drawing. So the reason you don't wipe is so you don't smear your drawing. Okay. Get off my pulpit here. All right, let's go ahead and do like a little window up here. And I'm just doing a long oval window. And we're going to do a door. They got to get in, right? Okay. Now, here's where we are. Let's do, on the inside of this window, we're going to actually have like a line that comes up and is going to come right about to the middle here. Like that. And actually maybe I want this to be curved down. So this would be a mistake, right? Because I intentionally drew it straight across, but I think maybe I want it to curve like this one. I think that looks more interesting. And maybe even a little more organic. Okay. There we go. All right. So let's start taking a look at our front door. Our front door is pretty ornate. So what we're going to do is, and this is where illustration can look really cool. You know, you see like a graphic design that someone's done, especially digital art is like this, you know, where somebody's done something and it's very intricate looking. That it's really just layers upon layers of detail. So it looks overwhelming when you look at it all at once and you think, oh my God, that's so beautiful and so ornate. But really, if you just go in a step-by-step process, kind of like we do with our drawing here, you can get something very ornate that really wasn't difficult. Just takes a little bit. So first, let's do a square down at the bottom. And this can be sketchy lines. And then we're going to do up at the top, we're going to do like a little, let's see, I'm going to make my square a little higher. I'm going to leave the line in there though. That's what I was saying earlier, is I mostly do erasing for you guys so that you can see what it's quote unquote supposed to look like, you know? I mean, I guess there's no supposed to with like a fairy house because it's not real, but yeah, I'll leave that in there. This isn't supposed to be in there. That line, you know, I just decided I did it a little bit higher. So I'm going to do something with it and I'll show you guys what I might do. Okay. Now let's go. We're going to, around the outside, do a parallel line that follows along. And then when you get to the top, you're going to go up to like a little peak. We'll do that on both sides. Like that. Okay. Now, we can put whatever we want here. I'm going to do like 3 little kind of balls here. Little circles. But just anything ornate you can do up at the top. I'm going to do like a little sun, I think. That this will mimic the underside of the mushroom. So what I did is I drew this tiny little, I'll hold this up so you can see. Ah, hello, Schwa. How are you? It is a mushroom house. It's a fairy house. So today we're doing a fairy home. I'm showing illustration today. So I don't know why I'm looking over here. I've changed all my screens around today because one of my screens are great. I am tired because I had a lot of fun playing The Witness very late last night, but it was very late. So okay, so I did this little circle inside. Yeah, it just a little. 4 a.m. Well, 4 a.m. for me. I don't know what it was for you. Okay. So here's what I'm doing. I just want to show you guys. I'm doing like this little sun kind of design, you know. Well, lucky. It means you got a little bit more sleep. Okay. So that is something that's, it's not really in the drawing. I'm making this up. I'm going along with it. I'm going to also do here where I made this mistake earlier. I chose to make this shorter. And so then I decided, oh no, I really want it to be taller. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do some hashing. There's little diagonal lines. This is really hard for you guys to see probably. Okay, so I did some hashing here where I just made little diagonal lines. Then I'm going to come the other way and do some hashing the opposite way. And that creates like a little grid. All right. Then I'm going to do some straight up and down lines. I'll just hold it up again, sorry. Some straight up and down lines, which are just going to indicate that maybe like this is a little oak door or something like that. And we need to put a doorknob here so our fairies can get into their house. Now, if you notice, the top part of this is a little bit darker than the bottom, and it looks off from a contextual perspective. You know, when we're looking at composition, overall composition, you don't want one part to be a lot darker than the other. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to outline this a little bit more, and then I'm going to come in, and some of them, not all of them, I'm going to just mark a little bit darker. So I'll show you what that looks like. All right. Steve, I don't know why you keep playing around. Steve keeps falling. I guess Lego minis really aren't very stable figures. Okay. By the way, anyone joining us, I keep talking to Steve. This is Minecraft Steve. He's watching. Keeping me on track, making sure that I get my work done. Okay. I have lots of little toys all over my desk that I play with throughout the day. And that, I don't know, it keeps my mind entertained. Okay. So let's see. What else do we want to do here? I'm going to, let's see. Let's kind of give our mushroom, we're going to give our mushroom, right now it's looking very one-dimensional to me. Let's, maybe two-dimensional. Since it is lines on paper. One-dimensional would be like a dot. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm adding a little slight curve to my lines. You see how I'm doing that? I'm just adding a slight little curve to my lines. And what this does, this one can stay. What this does, so now I'm going to curve the opposite direction. This makes it look like there's actually a little bit of shape to the bottom of it. And by the way, Schwa, welcome to the stream. I know you're new to the stream. All right, so I'm just doing curves. And you can have your curves undulate a little bit. That means that they kind of get wavy. And the reason you might do that is it shows that it is an organic object. Oh, cool. Well, thank you. Just so you know, at the end, I have everybody share. If you're following along, I have everybody take photos and upload them into the server, the Discord server. So you do not have to participate, though. That is not obligatory. Okay, but all this requires is a number 2 pencil and a piece of paper, so you could follow along if you wanted. Okay. Let's see. I feel like I missed one somewhere. Speak to me. Okay, over here. That's where it was. In the back there. Okay. Now, what we're going to do, so this line here, we're going to give it a little bit of a jagged edge. So just almost let your pencil just kind of go crazy. Like just let it go, you know, I don't know the actual sound. Usually, most of the time, my drawing techniques have sound effects, but I don't really have a sound effect for this one. So make it up. You get to create your own sound effect. Okay, so what that does is that's going to make it look a little bit more organic. Maybe here we'll have like a little line that comes up. Oh, okay, well, thank you for watching. Work. That's, well, you know what? No. I think I need to make a corona-free zone right here, right now, y'all. This is what is happening. This is corona-free. I will no longer speak of this event, this global event. Done. Done. Okay. Let's see. I'm looking at the reference drawing. Just so you guys, if you're wondering what I'm doing, why I keep looking down, and my reference drawing happens to be right below the camera, my face camera. So, okay. So I'm gonna have a couple more lines. This time we're going to erase. Yeah, it. Thank you for observing our new. Oops. I was pulling on the. Sorry, guys. I went to go put my feet on the stool under my desk, and apparently I started pulling the cord for the cable for the my second camera. Okay, so we're going to erase this time. What we're going to do, this was a guideline. So erasing guidelines are okay, right? Because that's all it was to give you like an idea of something. So I'm erasing my guideline. That's allowed. Okay. And what we're going to do is up at the top where this is, we're going to kind of let our line go. Basically, you're going in between each one and making just a slight little U. Not much, but just a slight one. And that's going to show, again, another texture. It's going to make it look like it's connecting in an organic way. Okay. Now let's go ahead and get some lines in here. Let's see, maybe a line right here and one right here. And let's do a little guy over here. One more. I need one more. Done. Done. Okay. So let's do. Oh, they want me to jagged this up. Okay, so let's do. We're gonna make the bottom of our mushroom a little warty. It's gonna have little bumps and things. Makes it look a little bit more realistic. So all I'm doing is going in, and I'm going to erase out so you guys can see a little bit better, but you do not have to erase. Again, I'm only doing this so that you guys can see the quote-unquote supposed to look. Okay. So it's a little bit bumpy. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Just creating like kind of a crooked line. Let's see, this one really has a nice big lump on the side. And this can look however you want because, again, it's a mushroom. No mushroom looks the same, right? Their mothers certainly told them they were special. They are unique. Okay. Let us, we're going to start adding, so remember at the beginning I told you that we were going to be doing several different kinds of grasses. So the first kind we're going to do is like a mossy grass. And I told you that's going to be made up of like jagged lines. So we're going to put this right here. So we're going to start on the side of the window and we're going to come up and just little tiny jagged strokes. So this is where you create texture through your line, right? Through the type of line that you're drawing. Okay, and maybe it'll turn and come down a little bit, maybe go up. Just little jagged lines. For Bob Ross, it's happy little trees. For me, it's jagged little lines. Okay. And then over here, we're going to actually come out from the side of the mushroom, right? Because if we put it inside the mushroom, it wouldn't look right. So we're going to come out on the side. Jagged little lines. Do, 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 do. Okay. Let's see. So then we'll do some jagged little lines down, going down. And I'm just imagining if this were a heartbeat of somebody, they would need to be in the hospital right now, because this would be an extremely irregular heartbeat. Okay. Man, when I'm tired, even my jokes aren't as funny. I just struggle. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and continue this window down here. So we're going to connect to this corner. I waited until I had this, until I connected the window, because I want it to come right to that corner. Because you're imagining that this moss, well, if someone was making the house as is done, it would have to fit right in that area, and this is about where it would start curving in. So that's where they would stop with the moss. So that's why I waited. Okay. We can go ahead and erase out this guideline here. Well, this was the actual mushroom line, but we can erase it out. I want to wipe. Okay. Not. I just had to. Sometimes it gets sticky, especially here in Florida, because, you know, it's humid. All right. Let's see. What's next? Let's do some, so like we're going to have some other little lines coming in here. So I'm just coming in and just randomly just putting little lines in there. And this is just going to, different directions. This is just going to add a little bit of texture to it. And then we're going to come in and put some flowers on the inside. Now, these are going to be not like the flowers that I did in our flower study. I don't even remember when that was. A few weeks ago, maybe? Last week? I don't even know. Can't keep track anymore. But our flower study, you know, there were very distinctive shapes. These are going to be more like little circles and swirls and just kind of, we're just indicating the shape of a flower. So this is another difference between drawing versus illustration, is that, you know, it doesn't have to look 100% real in illustration, because, you know, it's just a representation of the object. So I might do some that have, like, you know, a center and then some petals, you know, kind of like you think of a daisy or sunflower. Let's see. I'll do some like just like little circles of different sizes. Maybe another, like, let's do kind of a swirl flower here. So what that is I'm just swirling out, maybe to indicate something like a rose. There we go. Let's see, what other kind of flowers do I want to do? I'll do another one of these that has petals around the outside. So all that is like a circle in the middle, and then there we go. I'll hold this up so you guys can see. This one was, that flower looks pretty jacked up. I don't know what happened to that guy. He didn't get enough sleep. Okay. So we'll do one more of like kind of a wavy line flower, and then I'll do some more circles. And then we'll be done. We'll be done. All right. Let's see. Do we want anything else in there? I might go in and do some shading later, but we're not to that part yet. So let's go ahead and continue. Okay. Now let's see. Now we need to do we're going to do some embellishments on the windows. So first, we're going to do kind of these, it's going to be a little similar to how we did under here, where we're going to do straight lines first, and then we're going to go in and curve them. So first, you're going to do just like it's just a concave, like curved line there. Then we'll have another one. Let's see. We need to give this, let's take a parallel line here. And it's going to gradually get smaller. So I guess it's not in completely parallel, is it? It's gradually getting close. Okay. Super cute. Will I be drawing the fairy denizens too? No. But if you hang on just a second. 1 second. Oh. Lana's streaming. Yep. Get that out of the way. There we go. I will be the fairy today. Okay. So I'll just work the rest of the time in wings. I told you guys that there was a good chance I'd be wearing wings today, so. All right. So we've got our first curved line. Well, there you go. I live up to my word. All right, so now this one's going to come into the window a little bit. So it's going to come down, but it's going to curve right along with the first curve that we made. Okay, so we've got those two. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay. Oops. I don't know what happened there. I'm erasing that. See, I have an out. I can say, I'm doing it for you guys. That's how I get to erase. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to, similar to our mushroom, we're going to have lines that come in towards, let's see, kind of towards this point, but they don't all go towards the point. So like, it kind of curve a little bit, but see how this one is like a little bit to the right of the point? Same thing. Oops. That guy should be angled a little bit more. Be gone. Okay. So sometimes you can use the end of your pencil if you need to move it. That way you don't have to use your finger that has oils all over it that will spread things around. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. These are supposed to be very petal-like. So we're going to take our lines, and in between here and here, we're going to curve that. You can make it a little bit jagged if you want. Like, so if you want to make it where, you know, all we're doing though is we're showing that there's now these are two separate pieces here. Okay. All right, we'll do the same on the other side. So remember, I came up. This one, I'm not going to go to the middle. So we'll do the same thing. Let's see. I actually want this to come up a little bit. We're going to come up above and curve that in so that it looks like it's sitting on top. You see how that does that? So I'm going to do the same thing here. So you just bring it up just a little bit. Okay. All right, now these lines here, and we're going to give it just a second little line there. Let me hold that up so you can see it. So I'm just doing like a second little wispy stroke right next to the line. And what this does is it just gives it depth. It's creating like a depth that makes it look like it's actually layered. Okay. All right. So let's do, now down here, they're going to be a little bit farther apart. So we'll have, let's see. I don't want them to match exactly. So I'm going to have one that comes here maybe, like maybe to the middle of these, like that. Okay. Do the same thing. So this time what we're going to do, I do want to come up a little bit higher because we want it to look like something organic is sitting on top, because these would be more like lacy looking, like leaves, like maybe petals or leaves were set. So we're going to do some kind of jagged lines that connect. And we're going to come in here and actually make some of these lines darker and outline, almost like we did with our flowers in our flower study. Do our double line there. Like that. So if you look at this, now so you look at it, I did my double lines, but now it's starting to look more like something that's actually sitting on top of that rather than just 2D lines. This is how you create three-dimensional objects. All right, so let's do the other side. This one. Oh, you know what I forgot to do on this side? I forgot to do this little double, this kind of frame here. So here's what I'm going to do. Since I already drew this, I'm going to just come down I'm going to fake it. I'm going to fake it like I did it. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now we can continue. So this guy, what I did is, since I had messed up, this little one at the top that I want to come up doesn't really need to now because I started that line below it. So now he can just come in. I'm assuming my line is a guy. I don't know why. I don't know why I just gave him a gender. But it happens. I anthropomorphize a lot. As you can see, because I have a Minecraft minifigure watching me while I work. So what other nut jobs do that? Okay. So let's do our little double lines there. And ta-done. All right, let's see. What do we want to work on next? Let's do the center window. Okay. So the center window, first what we're going to do, my hair was trying to join the drawing. Okay. First, we're going to draw, let's see. Okay, we've got our oval. We're going to draw another oval right along the inside of it. So this will be completely parallel. It's going to stay the exact same. A little Lego Yoshi and a certain... Oh, man. Okay. I have a lot of toys. Let's see. Rexy joined us last week. This is my little T-Rex. With the little arms. He can't do push-ups. I can do push-ups. I need to do my push-ups today. Oh man, 1%. I gotta do it. I don't even remember what the number is today. Okay. All right. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, there's like a little challenge in this group that I'm in where you want to get 1% better, right, every day. So in this particular case, it's doing push-ups and squats and leg lifts and sit-ups. Okay, so you start out. Oh, okay, yeah, but I like to do it before the ping, so I can just be like, yeah, done. Haha. Okay, so you start off doing 5. I missed the beginning times, so I started doing 19. But what you do is it gradually, it's like it will, I keep saying it's like a bot. It will tell you, it's like an algorithm that adds 1% to that and will tell you how many that you need to do to gradually increase 1% every day. Yep, 1% reps every day. So I am probably around 18 or 19 today. So whatever. I'll just go ahead and do 19 because if I do an extra one, what? Is it going to hurt me? No. It's going to make me better and stronger. And then instead of coming to the art class, you'll be coming to the gun show. I'm just kidding. I can't even tell you the last time I had any kind of gun show going on. I can, actually. 2010. Because that's when I did Muay Thai. And I was in really good shape. Okay. I'm going to get jacked. That's right. Okay. So, where were we? Window. We're going to do like a cross on the inside. So, what I like to do is actually, we're going to draw an L. So, starting slightly to the right of the center. Because I don't want to be directly center. We're going to come down and we're going to do an L shape like that. And then we're going to come on the other side and do the opposite, like backwards L. Okay, come down a little bit. And you see what we're doing here? We're making this cross. So instead of trying to make the cross by like figuring out what it's supposed to look like, we just do the window shapes. You know, the pane shapes. And there you go. It gives you a very nice window. We're going to do a little kind of circle here in the middle. And all right. Now we're going to do kind of the same awning that we've got over here. We're going to do on this window. So what that does, let's see. We're going to come out and up just a little bit. And just make your mark. And let's see, we'll come to about here. Right? Yeah, right below where this, the bottom part of this pane starts. Or the top part of the bottom pane, I guess. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to curve up like that. All right. Then we're going to do, let's see, we've got to do one on the other side. So it's going to come down. It's going to look like it comes down like a little tiny bit farther, but not much. And that's just like the illusion. All right, so this needs to be curved at the top, right? So it's going to come down. All right, so here's what I did. I actually messed up a little bit, but it's okay because we were going to erase out. I want to show you guys, I'm going to use my kneaded eraser for this because I want to show you guys how this works. So if you've never seen a kneaded eraser, you can actually bend it around, move it, shape it to whatever you want. So what I want is I want like a smaller pointed eraser, right? Because I want to get in this little tiny spot. So what I do is make my eraser pointed And then I can come in this tiny little spot. Now here's the thing, kneaded erasers don't work nearly as well, right? I know, it's pretty awesome. I used to take these and just make them into little heart shapes. Like, you know, like kind of a tactile thing to do in art class. I just sat there and shaped them into things, like hearts and stars and stuff. I never used it as an actual eraser. Okay. Now, they don't actually leave as many eraser markings either. So, I know, right? Did you think you were going to learn about a new kind of eraser when you came on this stream? I bet not. I bet not. That's what I'm here for, to teach you all of the things you never thought you even needed to know. Okay. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I actually decided I wanted my line at the top of the window to be just a little bit farther down. Okay. So we need to get like this double, like we did here, this double thing going on here. We need to get that in here. So I'm just going to see if I can fudge it here. Let's see, it's going to come on the inside over here. Oh, you never took an art class. I mean, I guess as an adult. Well, guess what? Exciting news. You're taking one now. How cool is that? All right. I'm not like happy with what's going on here. I'm just erasing this top part of the window here. I don't know what, but the shape of it, something is bothering me. Okay. I think what it was is when I drew this part, it didn't arch enough. So we're going to go ahead and arch it. And we're going to back into our shape. Okay? This happens sometimes. Sometimes you got to erase and you got to start over. But instead of starting from scratch, like, you know, you could back into it. So, because we know where we want things to go. So I'm going to actually have this come a little bit lower. I think that's what was throwing me off. And then it's going to come down. So I'll give you guys a second to look at what I just did. Now I need to finish these lines because remember, I just erased them. Here we go. All right. That's looking lovely. Anything else we need to do to this window? Not at the moment. All right. So let's do this. What else can we do? Okay, we're going to add a little chimney at the top. So, oh, haha. I just realized something I missed when okay. All right, let's do this first. So remember we did our little mossy, grassy, you know, jagged strokes there? My jagged little strokes. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of that over here. So jagged little strokes. And it's just going to be a little poof ball coming out from the side. Like that. And I suppose we honestly should come out a little farther over here. Okay. We'll just pretend like that's what I did originally. All right. Okay, so now we're going to do our mushroom is going to have, and we do need to do this now before we get into the chimney because it's going to kind of change the shape of our mushroom. We're going to actually draw the outside edge of the underneath part of the mushroom. I don't know what this is called, actually. Gills, maybe? I don't know. As I have to keep reminding everyone, it's not science class, it's art class. Even though I do sometimes teach science. Okay, so let's do our jagged lines. We're going to do, just come down just slightly farther than the line that we have. and do some jagged lines. The first person, well, there you go. I was going to say the first person who can tell me what the underside is called has my undying gratitude. So you have it. And you beat me. I didn't even have to say anything. You just beat me to it. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to, so right now I've been matching the line here. You know, I've been going right along that line. Now I'm going to actually come out a little farther and go up, because our mushroom is going to kind of come in here and then shape. I don't know about this. I don't know about this. Hold on. Hold the phone. All right. We're going to make this come out a little bit further. And it's going to be bumpy. There we go. What? That happened. Okay, now we'll do our little poof ball guy. Jagged little lines. That is how you get amazing little mossy grass. Okay, and we need just a couple little, I'm not going to do any of the fancy flowers. I'm just going to do a couple little, maybe one coming up out of it. Little circles there. Alrighty. Move it on. We got to do that to this side too. So let's get it done. Get her done. I don't talk like that. I may be from the South. And I do say y'all, but I don't talk like that. I feel like y'all is saving me energy. You all is a lot to say. It's just a lot. Okay. So I'm going to erase this line over here like I did this one, because I'm going to have my mushroom come out a little bit farther. These are lines you can erase because they're ones where they really were a guide. Now I know that. Way to go reading my lesson plan ahead of time. Results you get by merely suggesting what something is rather than drawing every detail, especially over the course of the whole drawing. Haha, yep. And y'all is the best. So I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I'm also a personal trainer. I know. She does it all. Where does she find the time? That's a really good question. I don't know where I find the time. Just busy all the time. But I do this with my sister, who is also a health consultant. And she and I have a website. Now, there's not like a ton of stuff on the website, but if you are looking for sage advice and you just need to know how to improve your health, then check it out. It's called Y'all Fit. Y'all.fit. YALL.FIT. That is the website. And I do a lot. She does a lot of like the spiritual stuff. I do too. I haven't done as many body things, but the whole point is it's a mind, body, spirit thing. It's a blog. We do some mind stuff, some body stuff, some spirit stuff, whatever, and it's got those categories because health is a very holistic thing, right? You know, it's not just, yes, you can make your body healthy, but if you haven't done something with your mind to make yourself really believe in the changes that you're making to your body, then it's not going to really matter. You'll end up just going back to where you were before. That's the unfortunate part of it. So it's really important that you transition your mind first. It is. Fae is an important pronoun. We do, don't we? The official collective Fae all. Yep. all. That's the new word. I think I actually did start saying y'all because of people being mad about saying you guys. Well, so I explained this, I don't know, maybe the first or second stream that I did, that I say you guys a lot. You know, my family is from Chicago, and you can hear it sometimes in some of the things I say, like, oh my God. And so we say guys, you know, so I say you guys. And yeah, you guys and gals. I don't know. I mean, the thing is that why even separate, right? Like, why can't we just be one big happy family and we just are people? You know, you people. How about that? So I said that I'm going to try to work on it. I'm going to try to say, like, artists, team members. I also may use mortals if I'm not including myself. You know, just whatever. So I'm trying to, you know, work out how I'm going to change you guys, because I do say it a lot. Yeah, y'all is pretty perfect. You gals. I can't even say that. That does not roll off the tongue in any way. Y'all is pretty great. Okay. Here we go. I say here we go. I don't remember where it was. Okay. We got to make this line jagged. This is not crucial to whether we get the top part of this done, but we might as well just go ahead and do it since we're working on this. So I'm just doing kind of a wavy line here. And I'm going to come up away from my line some to make it look like, you know, it's not, you know, all one shape here. We're going to be organic about this. Be organic, man. Okay. There we go. And I'll just erase some of those little guidelines that we had there. Not necessary. We probably actually will catch those with shading. All right. Now we can go ahead. I'm going to add the details down here in the mushroom later. Like right now, I just want to go ahead and get this chimney on here. We need the chimney. And guess what? There's going to be smoke coming out of this chimney. There's no snow on the wood pile. Okay. So we're going to come up. We're going to make it kind of lumpy. Our mushroom has a very lumpy head. He fell a lot as a kid. I probably shouldn't joke about that. There might actually be kids that fall a lot and have lumpy heads. I should not joke. I might even have been one of them. And no snow on anything else. This may happen. There's a good chance it may happen. Okay, we'll see what kind of time we have. So I'm erasing my guidelines at the top. A wood pile with snow on it. No. Okay. All right, we're going to get our chimney in here. So the chimney I'm going to put on this side, and I'm just going to come up straight line. Chimney is an inorganic object. Okay, so here's what I'm doing. I'm doing 3 lines of varying heights, but notice they all go up, right? Actually, this one's not going to go up. Come on. That one's going to go down. My bad. So next week's class is going to be about single point perspective, in which you will learn exactly why this side goes down, this side goes down, this part is up, and it looks correct to your eye. So that will be next Tuesday's lesson at 2 p.m. Eastern. All right. All right. So we've got our shape. We're going to do another little box right above it. Okay. And I don't want my smoke. I want my smoke to be seen. So I'm going to make my smoke come down and go over there. How about that? take that stand for Benet. Huh. All right. So this is what I did up here, so just so you can see. I just did some squiggly lines. That's it. That's pretty much it. And I mean, you can get fancy with this. Like if you wanted to, you know, if like maybe you wanted to do like little poofs of smoke. Let's see what it would look like if we did poofs of smoke. What do poofs of smoke look like, Sarah? Let me show you. Okay. So you would follow kind of that same line. Now, poofs of smoke are going to get gradually bigger and maybe a little bit farther apart. Maybe that's a little too much farther apart. So, this is a magical house because fairies live here, so it's entirely possible that unlike other chimneys, this one is chugging, which means that it can shoot out little burps of smoke. Other chimneys can't do that, but this one can. Fairies live there. Okay, so there we go. We've got, I'll hold it up so you can see it. The light is really bright here, and it's funny because I even have a filter over it, and it's still really bright. But see how they get a little bit bigger and they get a little bit farther apart. That is what poofs of smoke do. Okay. Bricks. We need bricks. So I'm going to, let's see. So we're going to do some lines here that are parallel to the ones above them, which means they got to go at that same angle. So we're going to have like a brick here. So every time you have a long brick here, you're going to have a short brick on this side, right? Because that's the end of this brick. Makes sense. But let's see. So this one is going to be the end of that brick. What? I know. There you go. Okay. Now, let's do some of the embellishments in the windows. So in this window down here, we're going to have a bar that comes across. Let's see. I'm going to take this out here. All right, so we're going to have a bar that comes across. This is like a little decorative embellishment here. And now we're going to have down here, oop, this needs to be jagged. Anywhere where the mushroom is needs to be jagged because it's an organic shape. And in fact, I don't think I even made this part jagged, but we're just going to do it right now. Here we go. Jagged. These wings are a lot less comfortable today than they were the other day because the other day I had them on underneath what I was wearing because the back goes down so they could sit there. So it's like pulling on the shirt. So they're not as comfortable. Could wear what I wore the other day, but it's a little low cut. So, you know, you'll just have to watch the VOD. Okay. So we're going to put like this little semicircle here. And we've got a parallel line going above it. Now we're going to make this look like spokes. So we'll have double line coming down. So, you know, maybe this is like a little, I don't know what this would have been. Here. Let me hold that up so you can see it. So see how I just have like double lines coming down there. Okay. Oh God, we got to do another one of these windows? All right. You got to do it. It's in the reference photo. You know, I do what the reference photo tells me to do. All right, so we need to get another one of these oval windows in here. So I'm going to get, let's see, get my oval shape in. No, all hail the almighty reference photo, you know. And actually, we probably don't need to. I guess that's a good lesson, is that you don't necessarily need to follow the reference photo, but I'm going to, because I promised you that you would do a fairy home, and I gave you a photo of what it's going to look like, and I really want it to look like that photo. The will of the reference photo. Yeah. It does have a will, all right, that's for sure. Now, who remembers how we did the inside of this window? That's right, the right angles. Okay, so we're going to do our backwards L first this time. And we do our little circle in the middle. I'm not really liking that. This needs to be at an angle. Hang on. Because this is facing away from us. So, guess what? I'm going to get out the kneaded eraser again. What? Okay, because this is a tiny little space. Okay. All right, so we're going to actually make this come down slightly at an angle because it's facing away from us. So it's like turned. All right, close enough, you know. Enough is as good as a feast, so says Mary Poppins. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do some actually, that's all we're going to do for that place right there. Now we're going to do these cool curly cues on the side. So we've got, let's see, how do I want to do this? Let's first, we're going to do a little triangle, but it's going to be curved on one side. So you're going to come up and then you're going to curve down like that. Okay. On the other side of this, you're going to put a little line here, and this is going to curl around. Now it needs to come up to the top of here, but just slightly below. So I always just come a little reference mark there. And it's going to curl around like that. So that kind of looks like, I don't know, what does that look like? I don't know, maybe a backwards 9 or something. I don't know. I try to find the shapes in objects. Like if you can find geometric shapes or something that you can reference in your mind, like, oh, I know what that looks like, a teardrop. Like, remember when we were doing eyes? That's what we did last week. We did eyes last week. The week before is when we did flowers. But remember when I was talking about lips and how you have these carrots, right? You have all these teardrop carrot shapes in your lips. You've got one here, one here, one here, one here, and then you have this circle there, right? Similar things with the eyes and the fat deposits. When I was telling you guys about all the fat deposits that we've got around our eyes, it's the same thing. You've got all of these shapes in nature, and if you can train your eye to see those shapes and you can say, oh, that looks like a teardrop, or that looks like a circle, or that looks like a triangle, then you're going to get better at drawing because you're going to start seeing those. So if you can, I mean, obviously the number 9 is not really a geometric shape, but you know, if you can think like that, we're like, oh, that kind of looks like this to me. It's almost like you're identifying cloud shapes, right? What does this look like to you? So we're going to do a little line here, and then we're going to start making a parallel line going all the way around, and this is going to hit the top here. And it's going to come around, but it's not going to touch. We're going to actually have the rest of this line going up. So you create this triangle here. Now I could have created the triangle like we did down here. I could have created it up here. But I wanted to show you how you can back into it. All right. So now we're going to do the other side. I'm going to do both triangles first this time because I like doing I like doing the negative space first. That's what that's called. So this here is your positive space and this is your negative space because it's basically the subtraction of your positive space. So I like to actually draw my negative space first. I think it makes it, I don't know, I think it makes my drawings better because I'm looking for the shapes. Okay, so let's do this. So this one does have a line, but it's like not very wide. So let's just get that line drawn. I'm not going to do like I did here. Just, okay. This one we have, we're just going to get this side of it. There, so you triangle there. Okay, and then on this side, we're going to come down to about here. And we're going to curve around like that. Okay, now we can go ahead and come in. And we've got, you know, a guide here that we can use. Now, if you're not good at seeing the shapes yet, then you may want to just draw the curlicue and kind of work from there. And that's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with working top down. Okay. Actually, I guess it would be bottom up if you did that. And it's top down if you work with the negative space. Because you're assuming that the piece is already there. Okay. Only problem is this one doesn't come all the way down. So... Oh, this one didn't either. Okay, we're good. We're good. So there we go. We've got two curlicues. Okay, let's see. What are we going to do now? Well, I can tell you that this has like these little, I don't know, balls of fun or something coming off of this. I don't know what those are. Okay. Let's go ahead and get some detail in the mushrooms. How about that? Let's do that. So we're going to have every once in a while like these little circles. I'm going to hold this up so you can see because that doesn't look like much to you guys. See, I've got these they're little tiny circles there, right? So some of them might be bigger. I'm going to have like a bigger one here. I'm using the almighty reference photo. Let's see, maybe one here, a little circle here, here. Why did I all of a sudden get Peter and the Wolf in my head? I don't know. I did though. Okay. You guys probably couldn't even hear what I was humming. It was Peter and the Wolf. Okay. If you don't know that, it's Tchaikovsky. If you don't know Peter and the Wolf, go check it out. Probably one of the best composers of all time. And, wait, that was him, right? Oh God, somebody look that up. I don't want to be wrong. Somebody look up who did Peter and the Wolf. And then you will also, whoever does it, have my undying gratitude. I'm going to owe a lot of people my undying gratitude. I feel. I just don't like being wrong because I don't want to give you guys wrong information, get off the stream, find out I was wrong, and then I have to correct it. David Bowie. Google, why do you suck so much? It's not David Bowie. I mean, maybe he did it, but there's a classical composer who did Peter and the Wolf. I'm pretty sure it's Tchaikovsky. So what? Oh, just so you guys know what I'm doing, I'm like not even narrating anymore. I'm talking about Peter and the Wolf. What kind of teacher am I? Oh, Prokofiev. See, I was not correct. Sergei. All right, Sergei Prokofiev. Thank you. Undying gratitude. Oh my God, you have it twice. All right. I'm going to have to really pay up here. So, Prokofiev. Well, I know. 2 times undying gratitude. That sounds like some kind of character trait. Like, you know. Okay, sorry. Little secret about Sarah, and it's not secret to the people that used to do it with me, but I used to LARP. And so, yeah, I'm very familiar with creating character traits. That's right. Level up. Okay. You didn't have to fight for it. Okay. So, I'm just doing these little they're like little triangles almost, like maybe little shark fins or something. And I'm just doing these kind of randomly along the underside of the mushroom. Some of them can be longer than others, and it's just where the mushroom is kind of broken. Okay, so now we're going to have these lines, and we're just going to come up a little ways. Don't go too far. I'm going to show you what we're going to do. Okay, so I'm not a fan of daylight savings time, but I love that I get to look over and it's still sunny outside. That's so wonderful. All right. So I'm going to put my lines in. So here's what I'm doing. We are going to create a ridge. Whatever time setup we are currently on is the best one. Yes, and if we could just stay this way all the time instead of changing, that would be fantastic. I have to watch my language on this stream. I have kids watching. British Columbia government is thinking about getting rid of the other one, so oh yeah, that would be fantastic. I wish we got rid of it. There is one state that I'm aware of. There's only one state that does not observe. I feel like maybe somewhere in Indiana doesn't either, but Arizona, the entire state of Arizona, does not observe daylight savings time, and I think that's fantastic. I have an aunt that lives in Arizona. So right now, she is currently 3 hours behind me instead of 2 hours behind me. Yeah, absolutely. It's a great idea. Get rid of that stuff. And then we'll catch up to the rest of the world that doesn't use it. At least I don't think so. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. I created all these lines. I'm going to show you. So I have all these little tiny lines. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them and I'm going to very lightly, with jagged lines, connect them together. See? I assume the time change is for farmers or something. But I mean, come on, why does everybody else have to suffer? Right, well, and you know, I think it was originally for them. And this, by the way, is going to be our edge of our line here. Like that. You see how we created like another layer. So we're going to continue this all the way around. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know all the specifics of it. All I know is that other countries are able to get away with it without using it, rather. So why can't our 2 countries get with the program, right? I don't know what other countries do actually observe it, but clearly not Canada and the US. We do observe it, for sure. Okay. At least I think all of Canada does. I don't know if there's some, you know, somebody out there that doesn't observe. Oh, there are. Okay. You don't by any chance know what provinces, do you? Oh, well then I will take that as a no, you don't. Okay. So I've got my little jagged line here. And then I'm going to, from this line, we're going to do our little, the little things that we did down here. We're going to do that here. And I'm doing them in different places. I'm trying not to do them in the middle here. So that way it looks like a little bit more organic, less planned. I'll do a little guy over here. Remember, these are going to curve in this way from our perspective. I said remember like I told you that before. I'm telling you now for the very first time, these are going to curve in. I don't like this guy. Okay, Yukon, Saskatchewan, Quebec, Southampton Island, British Columbia, don't use daylight savings time. Apparently you are. Some areas of British Columbia. Man. Where are you, Vancouver? You on the coast? All right, so we're going to have some lines coming down from here. Little lines. We might have like, you know, like kind of a little elongated, like little bubble line. Oh, Victoria. I don't know that where that is. Clearly, my Canadian geography is not actually very good. I vaguely know where some things are from watching a lot of Heartland. It's a really good show. I love horses. Okay. Vancouver Island, which Vancouver's on. So Vancouver Island, so are you out into the Pacific? I don't know what that is up there. That's not the Pacific. What is that? I mean, it's kind of part of the Pacific, right? Or is it? It is into the Pacific. Okay. Well. Yeah. Okay. Oh. Yeah. You're up by my friend. Well, and my cousin actually used to live there. What was the island he lived on? Port Angeles. He lived in Port Angeles. And one of my best friends lives in Bellingham. So right across the border. Yep. Very cool. Well, if I ever end up in Seattle, which there's a pretty good chance, we'll have to hang out. I'll have to come up. We'll hang out. Okay. This is 4 hours from Seattle, but it looks close on the map. Yeah. Okay. So I've got all these little jagged lines and business here. Just making it look a little bit. So now I've got this weird thing going on because this up here is very nothing. There's nothing going on up there. So we need to go in and add some of these like little squigglies. The drawing's really taking shape. Oh, thanks. This is what happens. This is how all of my, if you go back and watch any of my VODs, you can actually, you don't even have to watch them. This is the coolest thing about Twitch. If you mouse over a video and just hover there, it will actually show you like a time lapse, and you can actually see the progression of the painting or drawing that I do. So it's pretty cool. Handmade Seattle. Okay. Yeah. If I'm up in that area, then I'll go to things like Handmade Seattle. I can't make the trip for that now. I mean, I don't even get up there to see my friends as it is now. Luckily, my friend up there in Bellingham doesn't watch this stream as far as I know, so she doesn't know that I'm talking about not coming to see her. But hey, if I live up there, I'll see her all the time. because my goal is to live in the country, so I don't want to live in Seattle. Nope, do not. Okay. So we got some lines. A little ferry that goes from downtown Victoria to downtown Seattle. Oh, yeah? Man, oh, ferries are so cool. My dad used to live off the coast. So there's a place in North Carolina called the Outer Banks, which is like a pretty popular tourist destination. And my dad used to live in a place called Little Washington, and you could drive to the ferry, which was not, which was right there. And I feel like the ferry is like maybe 30 minutes away from his house, but you took the ferry out to the Outer Banks, which was about 2.5 hours, which went to Ocracoke, which is where Blackbeard used to party. What? Yeah. The Blackbeard, the Edward Teach, he used to party on Ocracoke Island, and I have been there. It's really quaint and cute. So I'm just doing these like squiggly lines, by the way. Let me hold this up so you can see. By the way, I love pirates. Maybe I'll start doing some of my pirate trivia for you guys. I've resisted until now because I don't want to subject you to it. But pirate trivia is pretty fun. I used to actually test when I did do some pirate drawings. I actually don't have any pirate lesson plans at the time, but I can probably make some. You're asking me to do work here. It'd be pretty great with the ghost of Blackbeard. Right? How awesome would that be? Well, I don't know, actually. He has quite the reputation for being kind of a cruel dude. But here's the thing with pirates. Pirates are over-romanticized, but in the same way, the opposite... Well, I mean, I guess they were still romanticized, but it was like the opposite thing happened. Pirates use tools. Oh, here we go. Oh my God, pirate trivia is starting, y'all. You don't know what you're getting into. So, roofie pirates. Okay. I'll just tell you this little tidbit, and maybe next stream I'll give you some more. I do like them quite a bit. So as you can see, this is the flag of Henry Avery, who was a gentleman pirate. So, yeah. Anyway, all right. Pirates use their flags for fear. The main thing, so yes, it was identification, but it was really a fear tactic because, so here's the thing. You can go in and you can, use your cannons and use your manpower, like your swords or guns or whatever it is you have. Or you can save your bullets and just strike fear into the heart of whatever ship it is you're trying to take, because you put up your flag and everybody says, oh my God, it's Blackbeard, surrender. So that's a way better way. It's very Machiavellian, like just... tattoos make it legit. I've actually considered doing tattoos on stream before, but I don't know if anybody would actually want to see that. So, because I do my own. So, I did not do this one. I don't get credit for this one. I've done a couple others though. So, but yeah, I've thought about doing that. I don't know how well that would go over tattoos on live. But anyway, oh yeah, you think it would be cool? Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll do one. Maybe that'll be a special art stream. Maybe that'll be, yeah, we'll see. That may be an interesting prospect. Okay. So, yeah, so the whole point of flags was it was a tool more than anything else. I mean, yes, it was. So that's why a lot of the flags look really stupid. Like if you look at Blackbeard's flag, it's like this skeleton who's raising a glass in one hand to, I think the devil, I think is who he's raising it to. So he's raising a glass to the devil, and he's got, I want to say he's got like a spear through the heart or something like that, through a heart, like in the other hand. So it's a pretty dumb looking flag, I'll be honest with you. It doesn't particularly strike fear in my heart, but that's because I did not live in the times of Blackbeard. And so all you have to do is murder a few people get that reputation going, set your beard on fire, fun things like that. And yeah, people will be scared of you, and they will see your flag and they will say, yep, you can have it. Hands up, So flags were pretty good for that. Okay, so what else do we have to do? What else? Okay, so now we need to add some embellishments. We're pretty much done up here. So now we're going to add a couple little things on the side. Let me see. How are we doing on time? 1:50. Well, that's all right. It's because I've been chatty. I try to normally do like 2 hours, but I got chatty. Okay. So in the picture, there is like a surround. Since I did mine so close to the top, we're not going to be able to get the entire surround, but we can try. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically draw a line that comes up, and I actually kind of like the idea of the clouds going outside of that. And then we are going to start close at the bottom, and we're going to gradually get wider as we go up. Okay. So, yeah, we're not going to be able to see the top there, but that's okay. This is going to give it a more illustrative effect, right? I mean, because if you're looking at a real landscape, it doesn't normally have, a box around it. So let's go on this side. Now, one of the tricks to getting a straight line, whether it's a circle or a line, just a straight line, whatever, is moving your entire hand. Don't move your wrist. Move your entire hand, arm, everything. Just like you actually have more control if you move your whole arm and everything. So that's the trick to getting really even lines. So you'll see as I go that I'm moving my entire hand and arm. Okay, now this, I didn't do the shape very well on the outside, so I'm going to actually do the shape that I want to do here. And then I'm going to erase and just fix this. I think it's because I was so close to the edge. Okay. So we're going to take this, and now we're just going to finish the outside. Ta-done. Okay. So we'll have a little line here. Well, yes, you are distracting the lesson, but you're also making it more fun. I mean, you did get me to do pirate trivia, so I tell you what, as a treat, yeah, good luck with that. I don't believe that for a second. So I'm just doing these little lines out here. And I'm not entirely sure what these are supposed to be. I guess these are like yarn that kind of holds everything together, maybe. Okay. So there are a lot of sayings that we have that come from ships. Many of them pirate ships. Yeah, this doesn't look very yarn-like, but that's okay. What we're going to do, we'll do like some kind of, just do like a wispy little string around it. Let's see, this one's going to come down kind of curly-Q a little bit. Come back up, curve around, like that. You can't even see that. Let me hold it up. Clotheslines. I mean, they could be, but here, watch what's about to happen. Just wait. Okay. Hey, that was topical. All right, so down here, we're going to have these little loops. And they are continuations of that. So it has something to do with its string, kind of like a bird's nest. You know, you might have string or something like that. It has something to do with that. Okay. All right. So we've got our string or whatever, clotheslines, whatever it is. Let's get some little mushrooms down here. So we're going to do some like little twin mushrooms. All right, so remember how we drew this one, right? We did our circle. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do a little circle and an even smaller circle, just like we did for the big one. All right, this one over here is going to be a little circle, and they're kind of tilted, as you can see, and a smaller circle. All right, so let's go ahead and get our lines in there. I'm just doing both at the same time because that way I'm kind of in a mode, right? Like I'm in the mode of drawing lines right now, of those the little gill lines. All right, this one's going to be a little more simplistic, right? You know, I'm not going to, so we're going to come down halfway like we did here. But I'm not going to try to get as fancy with these. So these won't have like the little jagged lines. Instead, we're just going to have like a flowy line. So like that maybe. All right, then below it, we're going to come right, not to the end. Now this can be bumpy. Okay. All right, so on a ship, you sometimes had cannons, okay? I'm not entirely sure how I feel about these particular shapes, but here's what we're going to do. We got to come back. So you have cannons, and with cannons, you've got cannonballs. Okay. Cannonballs are very heavy, like very, very heavy. And so a lot of times you had to roll them to the wall. You know, didn't just pick them up. So when it was time for battle and the men had to prepare for battle, the bosun, who's the one who actually makes all of the calls and tells everybody what to do. The captain doesn't do that. The captain has like a quieter, more respectful distance from the crew. The bosun is the real one in charge. That's like, well, you also have the quartermaster. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. I'll go into that next stream. But the bosun's the one that's actually making the calls. And so he would say, balls to the wall. Just think about that. I leave you on that momentarily. So we get these little sayings. And then we say them today and we don't necessarily know where they came from, you know? Balls to the wall, gentlemen. Balls to the wall. All right. That one's like one of my favorite ones. But there's another one that's my favorite one. And I don't know if you guys would get this, because the thing about it is that this is like kind of an 80s reference. Now, many of you might not have been alive. But when pirates lived a pretty rough life, like, right? It's over romanticized. I mean, incredibly over romanticized. You know, it was a hard life, and it had a very low life expectancy, probably about 2 years, 3 years, something like that. Most people died. I'm erasing the reference marks from the circle here. Those were small enough. I probably could have gotten out the kneaded eraser for that. Okay. All right. These are looking better now that I erased those guidelines. Okay. So pirates would come onto a pirate ship in all kinds of dress, but they didn't have like a laundromat or anything. You know, they didn't have a washer and dryer. So, you know, if they could clean their clothes, it would be probably in salt water. And you don't want to waste fresh water on a boat. so they just really didn't wash their clothes all that often, and if they did, it would, you wear the same thing over and over again. It's not like you have a change of clothes. So you've got people that defected from the British Navy. You've got people that they picked up from the islands. You've got people from all over, all different colors, all different, types of clothing, very tattered and torn. And they would come into town and, walk around like in groups. But the groups were so, like, disheveled and like this hot modge podge of colors that people referred to them as motley crews. So there you go. Now you know where that comes from. And for those of you who don't know, Motley Crue is an awesome band from the 80s and 90s. Okay, that's enough for pirate trivia for today, so I'm not giving you any more. I already gave way more pirate trivia than I intended, which was really 0 at the beginning of the stream. So, all right. So, again, I'm just doing these little hashtag pirate facts. That's right. Well, I have plenty of them, so plenty. So this one I'm making really oddly shaped, apparently. And I'm doing really sketchy lines right now. So there's a couple different kinds of lines. There's something called a gestural line. So when you gesture and you do like these little tiny sketchy marks, that's a gesture. So normally in illustration you don't do that. So what we're going to do is we'll come back over these with our pencil, like more dark. We'll add dark lines to it. Okay. So our mushrooms here, I'm not going to get too detailed with these. I'm going to just do some different circles, different. Okay. Maybe. Okay, I'm just putting like some little lines in there. And I think that's done. Okay, now we're going to do our wispy grass. So remember we had our jagged little lines up here at the top to make kind of our mossy grass. And so you can tell this grass looks short and clumped together, very much like it's more fluffy, right? But we don't want our grass down here that's closer to us. We don't want that to look the same way. So what we're going to do is we're going to do wispy lines, right? So wispy lines. So here's what I do. I do a bunch of wispy lines, and this is going to come outside of our so wispy line. Okay, now I'm going to take those lines and connect them. So to show you what I did. So I take the line and connect it like that. And they don't actually, hold on. Hang on. Okay. I really meant to do that on the other side. They don't have to connect, was the point. They can just come down, they don't have to connect. But they can. So I'm coming down and I'm just doing these like little wispy lines. All right, this I'm going to give a bumpy path. Let me do some little grasses here. Okay. All right. We need to finish embellishing the door too. I just realized that there's a lot more going on in the door in the picture. Man, I'm just like slacking on the job today. Okay. Let's go ahead and do the other side. I'm going to erase out some of the little lines here just so it looks more natural maybe. There we go. Something like that. Okay. All right, on this side, we're gonna do wispy, wispy, wispy. So you just make one line first, right? You just make that one. You guys are lucky because normally my lines really do make sound effects quite often. So normally there's whooshing and things going on, but for some reason today they're not making any noise, so you lucked out. I teach, you know, a lot of my classes I'm teaching like 7 and 8 year olds, right? So in my face-to-face classes. So with kids, a lot of times it's easier to, you know, if they make a sound effect like a whoosh, whoosh, you know, when they're making their line, it not only makes it more fun, but it also helps them loosen up on their stroke, because a lot of kids like really want it to look perfect, and so they sit there and they grab their pencil like, you know, like it's, you know, gonna escape their hand, and then they dig their pencil into the paper, and of course you don't need to do that. But if you're going whoosh, you can't do that, you know, whoosh, whoosh. So that's why I do sound effects. That is the reason. Plus they're fun. Okay, we're almost done, guys. Artists, mortals, we're almost done. Okay. Heathens, some of you. Okay. So we're going to do our other line over here. And it got really quiet in chat all of a sudden. Like everybody left. Everybody's like, F this. I don't want any more pirate facts. Like, that's not what I came here for. I came here for art. Art. Okay. So I'm doing some squiggly lines. Okay, good. Thank you. Well, now you have my undying gratitude times 3. Man, you are really leveling up. First stream, and you're leveling up. Okay. Yeah, okay, well, we're almost done. But thank you for the heads up. All right, so here we go. Got some lines coming down from here, because I forgot to put stuff in the mushroom down here. I mean, like, so I've just got this weird random bald part of the mushroom that doesn't look right. So I'm putting some like 2 lines together in some places. Now, here we've got the mushroom kind of you really are. Okay. Oh, well, yeah. I don't even know how long you were gone, but it does. There's a lot more going on. Clotheslines. At least you were here for the clotheslines. I remember that. Okay. So we've got, I'm just putting like these little like blemishes or whatever they are. I'm going to do a couple like L's. So I'm going to do, this is a backwards L. I'm going to do a forwards L over here. And we're getting ready to start shading, and the shading won't take very long because it's pretty much a done deal. So here's what we're going to do. The door has these weird little, I don't know, circular things at the bottom. So just to show you. So it's just like little circles, like maybe scroll work or something in the architecture. And really, hold on, really these should be off to the side a little bit, because they are like scroll work. So it's going to come down and it's going to go off to the side like that. So it's going to come down like a musical note, if you know what those look like. Okay. And we need to do some stairs. So let's make sure we get a nice dark line here for the door. And we are going to do a line, another line that's like slightly over to the left. And we're going to let our stairs be kind of winding. I'm trying to do them approximately the same distance together. The magic mushroom. Hi, Trudy Ann. Welcome. Thank you. You are an old hippie. I know you. I know you, lady. I know who you are. Okay. So, here's what we're going to do. Stairs, pretty easy. It's funny, if you knew how many conversations I had about magic mushrooms, you'd probably be curious. Okay. For any kids out there, don't do mushrooms. I'm not in any way endorsing that. Okay. Let's see. Now I'm just doing like a little ledge. It's going to be the edge of our steps. And then we're going to connect them. And I'm just going to connect mine with like little, like a, I don't even know what those are called. They're called carrots when they're going up. Like a, you know, less than, greater than signs, whatever those are called. Anyway, I don't know. Little arrows, something. Anyway, I'm just doing those. Arrowheads. I'm sure there's an official name. There's an official name for everything. And then maybe do like kind of a little, just like a little on one side. I don't know. I'm just doing like kind of a little upside down L. All right, that's good enough. It really doesn't have to be that great. Okay, I want to do shadow. Let's do shadow. Okay, first of all, we're going to come in and do some of these right here. There's these little tiny fine lines. We're going to do those. Okay. And this is just going to add a little bit more texture to the underneath of the mushroom. And we want to do that before we do our shadow, just because they're going to end up blending with our shadow. Now, very good. Okay, so first things first, where do we have shadow? Oh man, I'm like seeing all this stuff I missed. There's some of these little lines here like we did in the mushroom. There's some of these up here too. This is the problem with this stuff, is there is so much detail, and again, it's not hard. I mean, look where we went from 0 to this, you know, in a couple hours. So like clearly it's not difficult to do, but there's just a lot of detail. So you just have to pay attention to whatever it is that you're doing and just go in steps. All right. So shadow, there's going to be, let's imagine where we want our light source to be. Okay. So let's say our light source is, we're going to say here. Okay. So like up here somewhere. So that means everything on the right side is going to be light and everything on the left side is going to be at least a little darker. Okay, so we're going to start over here, and I'm just doing very light coloring in, not much. Okay? So, like you can't even probably see that from there. Like that's how light it is. Like I'm like hardly doing anything there. Now, the closer you get to the area where it's light, the less your pressure should go. Okay. So in here, this is going to be very dark in here, right? Because it's facing completely away. I'm just to make these look even different. There might be some reflection in these. Okay, there's going to be a little bit of shadow underneath here that comes down, and then it will get lighter because it's coming out and the light can get around. There's going to be shadow here because this is dark underneath. Now you can go all one direction with the shadow. That's important if you're not going to do any blending, but I'm going to show you guys how to do blending. So here, if you look, it's very light, but I'm just kind of going in different, I'm not going all the same level. This will be kind of dark in here, but it's a light color, so we don't have to go very dark. Now the reason you don't have to go all one direction is because once you blend, it's going to fill in all those little lines. Now, I showed you the kneaded eraser. Wait till I show you the blender. That is even more exciting. There's probably like a little bit of shadow here where like it curves to the little shadow there. Maybe a little shadow underneath this string here or clothesline, what have you. So there's going to be some on this side because even if it's on the right side, the sun is above it, right? So you still have some shadow here. Definitely a little bit of shadow here. A little bit of shadow, maybe right there. Some shadow there. And also this is going to have a little bit darker shadow because this comes out. It's like a little cap, you know. It's like a little, well, yeah. It's kind of like a layer of skin. It comes over here. Okay, and then come down on the side here. So these mushrooms also are going to be dark, a little bit darker underneath. Okay, now our light source is here, so that means this side now is going to be a little bit darker because it's facing away from our light source, right? These grasses are going to be darker. This is going to be darker. This is going to be darker. And we just have to get a little bit of shading in there because we're going to take our blender and we're going to blend all of that. So we just have to get a little bit of color in there, a little bit of the darkness. You just need to let a little bit of the darkness in. That's my message for today. Okay. Let's see. Shadow here. There is one more place. I'm gonna have, well, two more places. Shadow here. Okay, and then we will have shadow for our entire toadstool. So I'm just being real general with that. So you can get some of that grass in there. Okay. The blender. This is a blender. What it is it's newsprint that's been very tightly wrapped into a pencil shape. You can actually sharpen these. I don't. I just like to use it. I actually use, so this is a blender. It's also called, sometimes called a blending stump, or a blotter, or let's see, there's another word that I'm not thinking of right now. But anyway, this would be called a dirty blender because it's, you know, dirty. Those are great because once you have a little bit of something else on this is probably charcoal and lead and graphite and all kinds of stuff that I've used over time. That means it gives you a little bit more than what you put down, so you can control how dark it is. So you just come in and you blend, and you'll see It fills in all the little tiny white spaces that you can't see. And then you get your gradient. So what a gradient is, if you're not familiar with that, gradient is a transition from one color to another color, or from one value to another value. Value is light versus dark. So your value is how light or dark something is. Oh, you know what? We forgot. See, this is the great thing about having a dirty blender, because I can just go in and, color that. We might even put a little bit on our poofs, right? Poof, poof. How about that? Make them 3D. All right, so just come in here. Just bring it all together. Bringing it on home. All right, let's come in here. This is the part that really gets it to look interesting. Now, okay, so remember I talked about illustrations. So you've got a couple different kinds of illustrations. Some illustrations are a little bit more realistic. I chose to do one because I like blending. So this is a little bit more realistic. So we are actually doing a lot more shadow than you would do. If you look at the pirate flag, there's not really any shading. Not really. You've got lines that indicate that it's supposed to be like shading, but there's not really any in there. So that's something that you don't see always in illustrations, but I like to do it. I like kind of more realistic. So we're going to come in here and do this. Okay, we're going to scoop along the bottom of our clothesline here. And scoop along the bottom. Let's see. There's a little bit of shadow here underneath. Oh, there'd be a little shadow on this side of the window, and maybe even a little beyond because it's covering. There's a little shadow on the inside here. And our shadow underneath. Let's see, I forgot about this guy up here. So now that I'm blending this together, I can actually kind of do that gradient that I was talking about. And then just blend. And that's why it doesn't have to go the same direction the whole time. I'm going to actually see these L's that I did here? I'm going to do a little bit of shadow right there, and what that does is, of course, it makes it look a little bit 3D. Okay. There's going to be shadow on this side of this mushroom, this side of this mushroom. This side, underneath here a little bit. And remember, you've got this kind of skin there. So, okay. I'm not going to worry too much about the stairs because, they're kind of small. We're going to get this big shadow here. And it looks like I'm coloring more in, but I'm really not. I'm just blending it so that it covers more of the area that I actually put it on. When you draw with a pencil, it skips a lot of the little white, little tiny paper has little tiny teeth in it, especially thicker paper that's used for drawing. It's got little tiny teeth in it. And that's so you can get interesting shadows like this. Okay. I'm pretty happy with this. If you guys see anywhere else that I missed, I'm just trying to make sure I didn't miss anywhere. I'm looking at this and it just wasn't blended very well, so. There's a little shadow here, all the way around, because it's facing away from the sun all the way. Okay. Ta-done. I think we're good. So here's what I do. Here's my very final bit that I do. I do a critique because this is really important for artists to understand. It's really important, first of all, to be able to talk about your work. It's very important to be able to and discuss it, and tell people what it's about and what you did and what your techniques were. It's also important to be able to take constructive criticism. It's really feedback, right? It's really when someone tells you how you can improve, that's how you're going to grow. If I were to tell you that your artwork is awesome, that doesn't mean anything. That's not constructive. So I use something, thank you very much, Trudy Ann. I use something called SPF. I can't take credit for this. I actually got this from the Little Gym. But it's specific positive feedback, SPF. So what I do is I talk about one thing that is very effective, at least one thing that's very effective in my artwork, that's working well and I should continue to do. Then I talk about one thing that is not working well, it's not effective, and maybe I need to change it or stop doing it altogether or what have you. So that is how I run that. Usually I like to have people do their own when I'm in person. But since we don't have that kind of forum, I encourage you to go to my Discord, which the link is down at the bottom of my screen. And if you were following along with me, upload your picture and we can talk about it. And I can actually talk about it live on stream because I can bring it up here. So I'm going to talk about mine first, just to give everybody a chance to do that if they have been following. And by the way, let me know in chat if you were following along and you did upload this photo, upload a photo to Discord. Let me know so that, I'm not spending a lot of time waiting for someone to upload. Okay, so the first thing I really like about this is my shading. It's almost always my shading because it's my favorite thing to do. I love to shade. So I like the shading. I actually like that I took my time with this because sometimes, especially with illustrations, I tend to go kind of fast and I rush through things and it doesn't always end up looking good, which is why I've never been really great at illustration. But I took my time with this and I went step by step and I think it shows. Okay, things I could work on. So I'm not entirely happy with a couple of areas. One, I think that my little grass area here probably could use a little bit of work. Like maybe I just come in and maybe some of my jagged little strokes maybe go up a little bit more and like kind of curve, get my little shark fins, things in there. Let's see. I probably would make these two toadstools here a little bigger. Other than that, it's pretty successful. I actually think that this turned out pretty successful. So I'm going to really quickly check my Discord and I'm going to see if anybody has uploaded. Nobody said anything in chat, so I'm assuming that there won't be any out there, but just in case. Let's see. Oh, okay. Thank you for joining, Trudy Ann. I appreciate it. Okay, so nope, mine is the only drawing out there. But in case you missed it, this is what I do. I normally post the reference drawing for the day, the almighty reference drawing. Here it is. I post it for everyone to see in my Discord channel. You are welcome to join. And we are going to go back to this because guess what, y'all? We're done. So thank you for tolerating my trivia, my pirate trivia. Steve thanks you for the wonderful lesson and paying attention and keeping it funny and all of the good bits this particular stream. And Tuesday, so drawing is normally on Tuesdays. Normally Friday night is drawing, but this week we had St. Patrick's Day on Tuesday. I did a special St. Patrick's Day. I don't even have it around, so I can't show you, but I did a special St. Patrick's Day. Oh yeah, I sure do. This was what we did on St. Patrick's Day. So we did like a little shamrock, you know, something or other. So, oh, Steve likes it. Okay. But, so we, because I did that, we had to switch things around. So, Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern will be my drawing class, and Friday at 6 p.m. is when I do painting. So next week, like I said, we're going to do single point perspective. We're going to do a country road, and I will be posting pictures of that the day of in my Discord, so please feel free to join the server. And have a fantastic weekend. Please stay safe. I'm not going to talk about it, but I just want you to be safe, and don't go to parties. Don't be stupid. You know, just take care of yourself. Take care of your body. Eat well. You know, get some exercise, and you'll be all right. All right. Have a fantastic weekend, and thank you for joining the stream.